Welcome back! We still have a lot of catching up to do. This week is September, and oh my goodness, so much happened. Shearing was our first big activity, but 2 days before shearing, Wendy and Eleanor came down with pinkeye, which I was afraid would delay our shearing plans, but nope, we persevered. I finished my hose hanging project, installed solar lights, fenced in a paddock for Lester, and somehow found the time to go foraging for apples with Will. Let's get started. To prepare for shearing, I mucked out the barn and put down fresh straw. I also enlisted Will's help to bring in a sheet of plywood to create a clean, level surface for Cailyn to shear on. The sheep were brought into the barn and fasted for 24 hours to empty their rumen, which makes them more comfortable during shearing and reduces any potential injuries to Cailyn because they weigh significantly less with an empty rumen. We sheared lightest to darkest to prevent any cross-contamination of fibers, with the exception of Wendy and Eleanor, who went last, because they were being quarantined after being diagnosed with pinkeye. After a sheep was shorn, I released them into the pasture, where they very happily began to fill up their rumens. And as the sheep got added back to the pasture one by one, it was fun to watch them try to figure out who they all are again. They all look so different now, and it's even hard for me to tell at this point. Next time we shear, I hope I remember to have a broom ready to sweep off the plywood between shearings just to keep things a little cleaner. Oh, and I posted the full-length shearing video if you wanted to watch the whole thing. It's about an hour long. These are the rings that you saw me cutting last week from the PVC pipe. I'm spray painting them black so they blend into the barn. This was not necessary for the project's success, but it was very important to me. Attaching the rings to the rafters was pretty easy too, as was hanging the hose from them. It's now been about 2 months since I recorded this clip, and I can already tell you that this system is a lifesaver. It's worked so well, and I'm so glad I didn't spend like $60 to buy a system like this. Still a newbie here? Sorry. I promise I thought I hit record, but I'll explain what you didn't see. This door didn't have a latch on it, so it was pretty useless at keeping sheep in unless used as a temporary holding space for about 15 to 20 minutes. So I popped over to Tractor Supply and picked up a sliding door latch. This installation process was pretty easy, and it only took me about 10 minutes.
So since we're out, like way out, in kind of the middle of nowhere, it gets really dark at night, which is nice because we get beautiful stars. But that also means when I'm walking from the house to the barn in the evening to feed the sheep, it's really dark. And if I forget the lantern or my phone is on, low battery or whatnot, I may not have light coming out here. And this light, no matter what I do, I cannot get it to function as a motion sensor light, which this light's the motion sensor on it. It's hanging down right now, but can't figure it out. So I bought some solar lights that are motion sensors. So I'm going to hang a set up here on the front of the barn and another set at the back of the barn. And what's great about them is they have a function where they'll turn on at dusk and they'll stay on for several hours, and then they will also turn on anytime there's motion. So around dusk, I think they turn on to like 20% power, and then when there's motion, they go up to 100% and stay on 100% for, I don't know, like 30 seconds. So it'll be great. That'll help ward off any predators that come up, any foxes or coyotes. Hopefully they'll be scared away. 1, by Marty's barking, and 2, by the light. And then also I'll be able to find my way to the barn in the evenings, and then find my way back to the house.
If you're enjoying this video and want to see more, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I'm in what used to be a paddock or dry lot, just off the southeast corner of the barn. You've seen me pull cattle panels from here in the past. There are still a few cattle panels left, and I need to remove them from this fence so I can use them to make a new fence opposite this one. Despite the overgrowth and the one fallen board, this fence is pretty sturdy. It also has woven wire fencing attached to it to keep the predators out. It was pretty clear that these panels had been leaning against this fence for a long time because the bottom edge on many of the panels was buried under 4 to 6 inches of soil, which required me to dig them out. After freeing the cattle panels, I measured out the length of the new fence, subtracted the length of what I had, and then went off to Tractor Supply to get the remainder of what I needed. I rented a van from U-Haul thinking it would be big enough, but I was wrong. So thank God for good friends, because Maria and Drew quickly came to our rescue and helped us transport the panels using their trailer. I needed a few more T-posts for the paddock I'm fencing, and since I was already planning to take this fence down, I figured I would reuse these posts. I'm taking every other post because I may want to keep the spacing for the new fence that will go up to replace this one. This is Buddy. He's our neighbor's barn cat who's come to stay with us for a few weeks while they're in the city. Isn't he a cutie?
Oh, mat on your butt, mister. We'll get that one out.
Hi, Lester, Wendy, and Eleanor. These youths just finished their pinkeye quarantine. Yay! The timing was perfect because we just got this fence up, so now the girls hang out with Lester to keep him company. It may be hard to see, but his paddock is separated from the pasture by an aisle and is connected to the barnyard by a gate. It's always a good idea to keep space between a ram and a flock of ewes when not in breeding. Ideally, the space would be an entire pasture, but for now it's just a 6-foot wide aisle. Since I plan on this paddock being Lester's permanent paddock when I'm not breeding, I'd like to make a doorway from the barn to this paddock so that he can come and go from his stall whenever he wants. In the future, I'd also like to add a hot wire to the bottom of this fence and permanently fence the aisle. Y'all may or may not know that Will is an aspiring cider maker, and we're in the early stages of planting our own orchard. We have 10 full-size trees on the property already and are planting an additional 20 trees this spring. This year was hard for growing apples in our region. 1, because many varieties are biannual, meaning that they produce on a 2-year cycle, and 2, because our spring was so wet this year, we lost a lot of apples to scab. Since we weren't able to harvest many apples from our own trees, we'll focus on foraging. These clips are from our trip to the National Forest, where we had heard that there were a lot of apple trees, and that was true. We had a blast, and I'm already looking forward to future trips. We are in the Red Barn now, the historic 19th century barn, where we are pressing the apples we harvested at the USDA Geneva station. After these apples are pressed, the juice will be siphoned into glass carboys to ferment into delicious hard cider.
Do you like the straw, Thomas? Do you like it? Do you like it, Thomas? Do you like the straw?
Now that we're coming to the end of the video, I do have some sad news to share. Those of you who follow the farm on Instagram may already know, but George, our other barn cat, was hit by a car and died in September. We miss him terribly, and Thomas has been having a hard time adjusting since then. He's been spending more time in the barn with me, and has followed me into the house on a few occasions. We buried George under the big pine trees near the house. It's an area where we saw him relaxing several times, so we know that he's at peace.
Oh, so that's how my armrest got all torn out. Thomas, that's how my armrest got all torn out?
Thanks for watching. I hope you'll join us again next week. Bye.